Alright, welcome back. We are here yet again at the SMITE public test server with a new hunter. Her name is Jing Wei. So we have two hunters back to back. We have Scotty and Jing Wei. Both are really different, both, mythology, the way they look, and of course the way they play. Jing Wei has tons of mobility, and just overall the purpose of this video is just to show you guys how she kind of plays, her abilities, how she kind of stacks up against other hunters, and then just my opinion in general. So starting with the way she looks and her animations, they look really good. Over the course of the past several years, it's really nice to see the progression of the way the Smite gods look. They feel their animations. So between her walk and her voice pack, which let's just go ahead and play some of them here if you haven't heard it already.
Oh hey fam!
It adds a lot more personality between her, animations and the way she sounds. So that's a really good job. Now moving on to her abilities. So her passive, I can't show it here in the jungle practice, but I'll probably add in some clip over this to kind of show you guys the way and how far you can actually go with your passive in Conquest. So as soon as you leave the fountain, you take off and you just fly into the skies for 5 seconds. It's really awesome. I'm not really sure if you can be pulled down by Willix from this. I don't really know. My guess, probably so. But moving on to her one. Pretty much, if you're familiar with Kronos and his one, the Time Rift, I believe it's called, is pretty much that, except you have a tornado. So let's go ahead and show that off. So it has a small delay to it, so you throw it down, has a delay, then it does initial burst damage, which it will hit quite a bit, and then it does persisting damage over time effect for targets that are also in there, as well as enemies that get affected by it, by the initial burst, or just walk through a period. They will get knocked up into the sky, and as well as you can use this to knock yourself up into the sky. And then after that, you have a small buff, which I believe gives you 25% attack speed. Yes, it does for 5 seconds. So that is one of your steroids there. It's a nice 25% increased attack speed. As you can see, these are all the numbers here. And again, this is the public test server, so numbers, cooldowns, things like that can change and probably will for future patches to come. So yeah, that is that. It does use quite a bit of your physical power from your items. I just have the boots on for 40 flat physical protection. You can see how that kind of translates to additional damage with the orange numbers. Now her 2 explosive bolts, this is another one of her steroids. You pop this in your next 3 basic attacks. They're wider and have an increased critical strike chance. And as well as, of course, deal the area effect damage, and as well as, let's say if you have Frostbound Hammer or just more crit items, it's also affected by those items. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So that is really cool. That kind of leads her to be building into a more of a crit hunter build, like maybe like Apollo or Rom or Artemis. So that's really awesome. Probably going to see more crit builds back in the meta. Moving on to her 3 agility, it's a really small dash, but there's some built-in things to it. If you are in mid-air and then dash, you dash for even longer. And as well as you have a 5-second immunity to basic attack movement penalties. So if you're familiar with Soul, when you pop your 3, you're not affected by the movement penalties when basic attacking. It's like the Haste of Mentalis ideally. But the key is, you only get that buff once you are knocked up into the air. So just to kind of further demonstrate that, I use my dash. It's very, very short, and I have no buff for that, no movement speed penalties when basic attacking. However, if I was to use it in combination with my 1 that knocks me up, or Sobek plucks me, then use it, then you're going to have that buff. So let's go ahead and use my 1, walk into it, get knocked up, hit 3, and then as you can see at both buffs, I have the no movement speed penalty when basic attacking, as well as the 25% increase in attack speed. And of course you can buff or just use your 2 to buff you up even more, and then you have increased critical strike chance and AoE basic attacks. So ideally you kind of have 3 steroids if you kind of work it perfectly. And then finally airstrike, you just fly over the air and then just dropping bombs on the targets below. I believe these do not stack on the same target, so you can only hit the target once. I believe that's how it works. And just kind of show you how it looks like, and it does do a lot of damage. So this is the targeter. It's pretty big. It has some charge up time. Drop all the napalm strikes or whatever, and you just kind of fly in the air for 2 seconds, and then you could choose to land early in where you actually want to land. So that is how that works. What I like about her kit, it is really simple to understand at like the base level, so like noobs can feel free to play this and they could probably do pretty well because there's no walls of text and a lot of different mechanics to it. It's really simple, but then it has a little bit more of a skill cap, like higher skill cap in the ways you can work around with your 1 and 3 and those combinations. So that's really nice. If you're looking at the cooldown for her ultimate, that is bugged right now, I believe, because I'm in the public test server. No matter if you're level 5 or level 20, the cooldown is 90 seconds. It's really weird. It looks like it scales like 36 seconds up to 90 seconds, but watch when I go ahead and lower my level to 1, it's like 90 seconds scaling up to like 200 something. And now it's like 90 seconds scaling up to 225. It's just, I don't know, that's just an issue. So yeah, besides that, her cooldowns are pretty moderate. Her cooldown on her 3 is pretty long. But the thing is, if you really want an effective dash, you have to get knocked up for the 55 range, or else the 35 range is not really much. So does one flaw to her. But overall, she is not really an ability-based hunter as far as using your abilities for damage. Your 1 is not a really reliable damage source, and it's fairly small. Like the size, the radius doesn't get bigger as you level it up or anything. So you'll be building into more of like a thrown dagger start, or death toll into boot start into the shin size and crit build. That's how you probably would build her. But as far as how she'll stack up against other hunters, I kind of feel like she might be able to be one of the top picks for hunters, just because she has a lot of tools to her kit. She has ideally 3 steroids. She has crit, so you would probably just max out your 2 for clearing wave with Thrown Dagger, and you can clear really fast, and you can have pretty good early pressure. Not exactly like any global presence like with Rom or with Neath, but her ultimate's pretty good for maybe getting like half a wave in of just full of damage. So I feel like she definitely could be one of the top hunters, maybe, just maybe. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully it was helpful in just understanding Jing Wei. Again, for those of you who do not have the public test server or just want to see gameplay of her just in general. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.